How did this trip impact the way you view our life and culture?
Um, After Poland, I came back and um, I realized that we had uh, so much more, and that I realized that our culture in general was kind of demanding and selfish. And compared to the culture in Poland, they're very simple and accepting, and it didn't matter if they had 12 people in their house that they had to accommodate. It was just another part of life for them that they worked with and dealt with. So mainly the difference in attitude and just the difference in how they handle life situations or crises or anything like that. It's just a whole different perspective.
What, if anything, surprised you about the Polish people or their culture?
Um, there were a couple things. One was how friendly they were. People told us that it was because we were Americans that we all were automatically popular, but they were just really accepting. And after the missions trip, I stayed another week or two, and I learned that like they're very friendly, but they're also not as friendly unless you know a mutual friend. So if you know someone that they know, then they're friendly to you, but they won't be as just open with you if you don't know them at all, like if you just approach them on the street. Um, Another thing was the Catholicism, how strong it was in Poland. There was just, I knew that there was a Catholic-based country, but going through all these cities and different villages and seeing 2 to 3 churches in every single village, even if the village is just a couple hundred people, and seeing how close they are with Catholicism to Christianity, just that little push that they don't have quite yet. It's just, it really surprised me how close they were.
What are the main differences between you and the Polish people you met?
Um, the main one would be that I don't speak Polish and they don't speak English. That caused a lot of, not problems, just different situations, I guess, where you'd have to grab a translator and figure it out. But probably the main difference between me and them was that um, they would they would go with everything. It was just like they would accept what came their way and they would deal with it, whether it was a crisis or um, just something that came along in their way. They would just find a way to deal with it and they would move on, instead of me, like when I have a problem or situation, I usually tend to dwell upon it and fix it or try to um, just think about it, and it just dominates everything. But um, they just find a way to move on and like look for the better things in life.
What was your favorite part?
Um, I don't have a favorite part. The whole trip was my favorite part. There were problems, and there were times where we were tired and stuff like that. But even no matter what happened, it was just a great experience the whole way through. Um, Auschwitz, when we went to Auschwitz, I'll never forget that. That was an experience that um, just is on my mind, and I've dreamt about it. And going into a couple of the Catholic churches, that was one part that I'll never forget. But mainly the day by day of hanging out with the kids was my favorite part, kind of like the VBS part.
What would you say to others who are thinking of going on a missions trip?
Um, when people talk about missions trip, they always say everyone should go on a mission trip. And I agree, but I think that you should go on a mission trip if God calls you to. You shouldn't just go on a mission trip because you can, because you have the money or time. You should go because you want to, but also because God wants you to. And otherwise, you won't get a very good experience out of it, or you won't have a very impactful trip or anything like that.
How have you changed?
I haven't changed massively, but I have changed. I haven't had my whole life turned around. I've been more thoughtful and appreciative of what I have, just comparing what I have in America and what was in Poland just makes me appreciate my life and my family and everything I have a lot more. And it also strengthened my relationship with God. Not anything super amazing. There were amazing things here and there, but just like the whole trip just was a step with me and God.